Back on June 18th of 2021, I told my viewers here on Valiant Renegade that there was a new sheriff in town and his name would be David Zaslav. At that point, about 16 to 17 months ago now, it had recently been announced that John Stankey would be spinning off Warner Brothers Studios and the entire Warner Media Group from its former owner at that time, AT&T, merging it in a reverse Morris trust with David Zaslav's Discovery, whereby which David Zaslav would become the CEO and chairman of that newly formed enterprise. David Zaslav is somebody who never disappoints. You see, there's a scripted David Zaslav that is talking about the high points that he has been handed for the actual earnings call. And then there's David Zaslav during the Q&A session when the handcuffs come off.
A couple of things. One, we're going to have a real focus on franchises. We haven't had a Superman movie in 13 years. We haven't done a Harry Potter movie in 15 years. What are the DC movies and the Harry Potter movies provided a lot of the profits of Warner Brothers movies.
Renegade Online. Well, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's great to see everybody out there once again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video, not yet subscribed to the channel, please do take a moment, hit that little red subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, share this sucker out on the social medias. And of course, please do leave a comment below the video before you head out the door today. YouTube loves the comments and the likes. Now, look, we covered the earnings call for Warner Brothers Discovery earlier today as I'm recording this, Thursday, November 3rd. And there was quite a bit of fireworks towards the end. No surprise considering when David Zaslav tends to go off script, the more real side of David Zaslav comes out. And he certainly didn't pull any punches during that Q&A session regarding the former leadership of Warner Brothers Discovery, going so far as to basically say that they did nothing to prepare the company over the last 10 years for the next 10 years, and how much they squandered their opportunities in leveraging some of the greatest IPs, the intellectual properties that Warner Brothers houses. That included Harry Potter, that included DC, that included Lord of the Rings. There is so much he feels like the former leadership left on the table from AT&T and the former regime that ran the Warner Brothers Studios and Warner Brothers Media. And he is not having any of it anymore. This is definitely going to be a new direction for Warner Brothers. And it even went so far as to him basically disavowing the entire Snyderverse and even Fantastic Beasts.
One, we're going to have a real focus on franchises. We haven't had a Superman movie in 13 years. We haven't done a Harry Potter movie in 15 years. What are the DC movies and the Harry Potter movies provided a lot of the profits of Warner Brothers Motion Pictures over the last 25 years.
Yeah, you heard David Zaslav correctly. He said that there has not been a Superman movie in the last 13 years and that there has not been a Harry Potter movie in the last 15 years. Yeah, he didn't misspeak. He didn't make an error. He didn't suddenly forget about the 3 Fantastic Beasts movies from the wizarding world of Harry Potter. He didn't suddenly forget the entirety of the Snyderverse, beginning with The Man of Steel, that also has Henry Cavill in it, who was just recently reportedly re-signed with Warner Brothers to reclaim the mantle of Superman. No, he completely disavowed that those films even exist. And why would that be? Well, if I'm David Zaslav looking back at those box office returns, I wouldn't have much respect for them either. These are franchises in David Zaslav's mind that should be far bigger in terms of audience returns, audience retention, fan excitement, merchandise sales than the former leadership of Warner Brothers under AT&T had been able to actually deliver. And it's not an accident that every one of those people that ran those franchises for the last 10 years has been fired.
One of the big advantages that we have, House of the Dragon is an example of that. Game of Thrones, taking advantage of Sex and the City. Lord of the Rings, we still have the right to do Lord of the Rings movies. What are the movies that have brands that are understood and loved everywhere in the world? Outside the U.S., most in the aggregate, Europe, Latin America, Asia, it's about 40% of the theaters that we have here in the U.S. And there's local content. And so when you have a franchise movie, you can often make 2 to 3 times the amount of money you make in the U.S. because you get a slot and a focus on the big movies that are loved, that are tentpole, that people are going to leave home, leave early from dinner to go to see. And we have a lot of them: Batman, Superman, Aquaman. If we can do something with J.K. on Harry Potter going forward.
And you heard that one right, too. David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, unabashedly, unapologetically said, "We want to work with J.K. Rowling going forward for new Harry Potter." Apparently, David Zaslav does not think much of the social media left-wing flack that has been thrown at J.K. Rowling for the last several years for her daring to have her own opinion, to defend women, and to be a thinking person. So don't be at all surprised if you see a lot of flack from the radical left over the next several days and weeks thrown at David Zaslav for actually thinking that, hey, we might like to make some money here. And that wasn't the only thing they touted regarding Harry Potter. It has been for some time a much maligned, also by the left, thing that this new game for Warner Brothers Studios is coming out, Harry Potter Legacy, this big online open world RPG that the left says you can't buy because it supports J.K. Rowling. Well, they heralded this game at the beginning of this earnings call, talking about how great it was and how much they thought this was going to be a great return to investors. Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, J.B. Perrette, the people that are running the ship over there in terms of content, they just don't seem to care about your personal politics on social media, because one of the things that David Zaslav has apparently figured out that too many other Hollywood studios have yet to come to the conclusion of is that tweets don't pay your damn bills.